Word up, freaks. Let me turn this down a little bit at my end. All right, so here we are, Saturday morning, and yeah, big week in Guild Wars 2. We got content for some of us, anyways. Let me know how the levels are. I've been playing around with a bunch of stuff to fix some problems I was having this week. Let's see. Let's turn this down a little more. There we go. All right. So hopefully this sounds okay this morning. Okay, good. Thank you, Licentian. I appreciate it. Let us get some game footage, shall we? It's almost like I know what I'm doing. All right. Super sad about the upcoming changes to Scrapper. Let's talk about that. That is, yeah. So we had the big balance patch preview yesterday, which was a really good stream, by the way. If any of you guys get the chance to go back and watch it, some big changes coming for competitive, including a little bit of a tuning to our good friend Scrapper. Where the hardcores in World versus World are ready to proclaim the death of Scrapper yet again, I am not willing to do so. I think they are interesting changes, to say the least. I think that there is a bit of a trade-off coming. I think the super speed pulsing on the first bit of the wells is actually going to be interesting. I'm not willing to call Scrapper dead yet, and particularly not for PvE, because that's kind of all Caddy and I have been playing all week. What is the best class, and why is it Scrapper, is really how this conversation is going. So yeah, Gyro's getting a really, really big change in World versus World. They're going to act like normal wells in that you place them and they won't follow you. So how is this going to impact things? I don't know. That is a really good question. I'm really not willing to call the death of it. I will, however, say it is the death of a big part of what makes Scrapper flavorful. The moving wells are kind of a big deal. I'm glad it's not a PvE change. I'm really glad it's not a PvE change. And I miss those old gyros that you used to like lag behind you a little bit. Those were fun. I don't know. They were flavorful. Anyway. Yeah, the first pulse gonna be a bit of a change. I don't think there was really anything else in there that made a big difference, and I'm not sure it's gonna make a huge difference. The person to ask, of course, will be Caddy, who really Caddy Wampus here, looking pretty shiny. Yeah, it's a timing difference. I think is exactly what we're talking about. I'm not sure that it guts it as bad as a lot of people play, a lot of people say. But then the other side is, I think it guts it for people who may not be as proficient at it. The people who are just hitting rotations instead of acting situationally, it's absolutely going to impact them. It's going to impact them hard. That horse skin is really fucking cool. All right. So there was that. Yeah, some really big changes coming for Warrior as well in competitive, which I think is probably a really good thing. But yeah, those were the two really big takeaways. I haven't really been playing much competitive over the last 6 to 8 months. My World versus World time has been pretty minimal, particularly since End of Dragons, as I've been working on builds and stuff like that. So yeah. Kale, this patch reads as changes to Warriors and some other specs. Well, Warrior needed a lot of help in competitive. Warrior, particularly, for World versus World roaming, was just not fun. So I don't know. We'll see how they play out. I don't think the Scrapper changes are going to really change too much. They're not going to shift the meta. If I'm running a 5-man team in World versus World, I am still running Firebrand and Scrapper, and now I'm throwing that Condi Scourge on there as an absolute must-have. I think Condi Scourge really seeing a nice little bump from that patch. And if I was a betting man, I would go out and either make some Celestial or probably some Trailblazers gear for a Scourge, and really start going right into the Boon Corrupt, and even some Torment runes or something would be pretty sweet. Because they're changing Torment in World versus World again, which I think is interesting as well. Yeah, so my thoughts on the patch, wait and play it as usual, but I don't think the scrapper changes are going to gut just about anything. And I think that getting Torment back to being a relevant condition in World versus World is going to be cool. It's going to be cool. Particularly, on a heavy boon corrupting class like Scourge. I think it's going to be really an interesting thing to play. So yeah, there was that. What else happened this week? Oh yeah, we got new content. I don't know. I'm going to hold back my thoughts on it. Caddy and I were running through it and ran into a pretty serious bug. And it kind of killed my enjoyment of it. So Midnight saying tons of folks in the chat yesterday were excited about the Warrior changes. Yeah, I mean, they're really cool changes. They're really significant buffs to a class that kind of needed them, for sure. And we'll see what else comes with the patch. I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff that they weren't getting into. It was a lot of math. The really big significant things overall is the Torment change for competitive. I think that that's going to benefit a lot of classes, not the least of which is Scourge. Probably be a really good time to start playing things like Scourge or probably Mirage. I think Mirage will be really good in World versus World as a roamer anyways. I think it really will necessitate having a Necro on every line in World versus World. So there's 3 of your 5. I don't think Scrapper's going anywhere. I really don't. Soul Beast can now swap pets while merged. Well, yeah. Let's talk about a spec that didn't need an added advantage in competitive. Let's talk about the Sikkim Soul Beast and why the Sikkim Soul Beast did not need a buff or any kind of change to it. Really, the Sikkim Soul Beast is still stupidly oppressive and rewards really minimal gameplay. I don't know about you guys. That's just how I feel. Anyways, you know what? While we're doing this, let's go hit some stuff while I'm jabbering off and flapping my gums, so to speak. And let's get into it. Yeah, Blade Swarm got the double dodge. Vindicator getting the dodge, its dodges back. That's also really interesting because, World versus World, Vindicator is actually pretty powerful. I think in World versus World, Vindicator is a really compelling support option. And to give it that dodge on something that absolutely benefits from its dodge, as anybody who's played any kind of Vindicator in World versus World can attest, that a lot of that came off the dodge and the quicker dodge. Yeah, Caddy pointing out in team chat here that the quicker dodge. What did they do? They halved the time on that dodge. Now, that's a double-edged sword because I was using that dodge to kind of get out of some stuff. And let's keep in mind that this is all competitive, right? This is all for World versus World. And I was mitigating a fair bit of damage with that uptime in the air. But, so be it. Mirage goes back to the only class. Well, again, it's only competitive. But, yeah, Mirage going back to... It will be the only class with 1 dodge, but... I think you kind of have to do that to Mirage. Mirage is so fundamentally busted otherwise that I think you have to keep that trade-off there. But if the idea is to start getting rid of the trade-offs, like the Ranger pet swapping and the Vindicator 1 job, then Why is Mirage still getting punished? It becomes the real question. And is Druid still seeing the lower pet, whatchamacallit, the lower pet efficiency that you get on Druid? So, I mean, there are a lot of questions that come with this, because if they're going to start changing those, if they're going to start changing those fundamental trade-off mechanics, then they really have to look at Mirage specifically, I think, which has suffered pretty heavily for that. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. It was interesting to hear CMC talk about, about breaking philosophy. I thought was an interesting little thing he brought up there yesterday. So there we go. Rich, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Vindicator's life? I'm not sure I agree. I'm not sure that Vindicator is in the same good place as, say, the other Revenant specs. But then I don't play it in competitive, so what do I know, right? Caddy would be a much better person to answer that, because she's actually played a fair bit of it. But hey, Sage Cersei. Hey, for those of you guys who are looking for my favorite streamer these days, Sage Cersei is right there, and I'm going to pop a Sage Cersei. I'm going to pop a link to her stream, which you should all be subscribed to, because the only people who aren't subscribed to Sage's stream are assholes. And I know that nobody here is an asshole. So there we go. Sage is absolutely one of my favorite people to play this game with. And her and her crew are probably the nicest bunch of people, despite maining Char, that I could really point you guys towards. So absolutely go and check her out if you get a chance. She is absolutely hilarious. She just started a YouTube channel as well, where she's been putting up some clips, and been really enjoying those clips. Those clips are pretty cool. Yes, and they do keep it Charish. So there we have it. Where over here, we keep things short and sarcastic, I guess is the best way to put it. So yeah, big changes this week. I guess that'll come out in about 2 weeks in World versus World anyways. Will it shake up the meta? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure that any of those changes are enough to dislodge any of the real offenders. It will, however, make Tempest more interesting. And Tempest in World vs. World, one of my favorite things. It's a bit of a buff to Power Tempest. So there we have it. Not Power Tempest, but Support Tempest. I'm not sure I'd play Power Tempest or DPS Tempest. And I promised Caddy I would talk about this on stream today, about the changes to Tempest. So we'll get into that in a little bit. I have some thoughts about that as somebody who may have played some Tempest in World vs. World. Absolutely interesting stuff. But we are kind of plowing through these dudes. This is pretty sweet. Give you guys an idea about this. This is going to be one of the upcoming videos. I've got two that are half done at this point. One of them is a Spellbreaker video, which I have the intro. Sage is helping me with the intro on that. And then Caddy is going to be helping me with a PvE Scrapper video, which should be up fairly soon once we get that all together. And we will be talking about Scrapper in PvE, because I think Scrapper in PvE is probably one of the best open world generalists right now. I'm really enjoying playing Scrapper this week. So let me catch up on the chat here. Catalyst got a little hit. Yeah, a little hit. Asura are the true master race of Tyria. It is true, because ain't nobody got those years but the Asura. Like, seriously. Seriously. We know that's what they all think. Well, you know, there's thinking, and then there's the empirical evidence of superiority. There really is. So yeah, we'll be doing some Scrapper. NG. Oh yeah, and I guess the PVE changes is we're gonna see that Snoop Boop to our friend Mechanist. Mechanist is getting hit to the tune in one trade of about 10%, and I thought it was funny because as cheesed off as I got about that slap to Catalyst in the last patch, this slap to Mechanist is pretty funny. It's like, oh, you're playing Mechanist, you just can't have aim assisted rocket now. I'm not sure how I feel about that from a design standpoint. It is a really good nerf, though. It is a really good nerf. And I'm really excited to see a lot less Mechanists in the game because it's functionally just become the new Longbow Ranger. It really has. And I'm not sure that that's been super healthy for this game, right? When you go into a group and you see half the people on Mechanist, I'm just not sure that's healthy. And I don't want to hate on people who play it or enjoy pet classes, but oh, there's me just standing in Scorcher. Look at that. Good job, mate. You know, I have a problem with the performance of pet classes in this game in general. I think they're a little too rewarding for the effort that's being put out. And to see to see probably the prime offender these days get a significant little slap, I think is a good idea. So I will just leave it at that. So then we go back to the chat here in a moment after I kill things because we're learning how to be a good streamer. Yay! Define good nerf. A good nerf a good nerf is one that actually puts a class on the same level as everything else when it is completely overperforming in any kind of thing. So what is a good nerf? I think slapping a good 10% damage reduction on a build that is overperforming brings up the viability of other builds. And I think it's kind of that simple. I think that when you go into a squad of 10 people and you see 4 people on Mechanist, I think you start to understand that there's a bit of a problem. And it's the same problem that we ran into in Path of Fire when Scourge first hit the scene, and you go into World versus World and you'd literally see 3/4 of the team playing Scourge. It is. I think that the Mechanist health nerf is really healthy, and you know what? It's only 10%. It really is. It's only 10% damage. 10%. It's taking a 33k per second down to 30k per second. I just don't think that it's overhanded. I've seen some much worse nerfs in this game, and so I really think that it's important to keep everything viable. And when you get to the point where one spec is so much better than the rest of the specs in the game, that it really negates the option to play the other builds because that one is so much better, then you have a problem. But there are other examples of good nerfs in the game, like the sustain nerf before Path of Fire, which I understand cheesed off a lot of people. Not Path of Fire, sorry, End of Dragons. I understand that cheesed off a lot of people. But being able to stand in red circles when you were playing Kondirev was not healthy because it invalidated the dodge mechanic in this game. It just made the dodge mechanic useless, and it built bad habits and things like that. So I think that nerfing things in that regard were good too. I thought it was really a smart one. Hey, it's low intensity, high accessibility. Feel good about the game. The rest of us rise to the challenge. Yeah, in theory, I think that I would agree with that. The other side of that, though, is that a low intensity build like Mechanist, where you are just pressing one, should that actually be providing you the same level of performance as a similar situation on, say, Catalyst, where you've got to press 50 buttons to get the same thing? And I think I've been I've been pretty vocal about my feelings about a couple of these things. Like, why do I have to press 7 buttons to keep up alacrity on Tempest when I can keep it up with literally one button on Mechanist, or even one button on Renegade, right? And I just don't think that. I think there needs to be a trade-off in terms of the simplicity that's higher than what it currently is. I don't think that the trade-off for the simplicity is really as what it should have been. I don't know. That's just my thinking about it. I just rather see these kind of low-intensity builds maybe not perform as high as something where there's some skill expression. And I don't think there's a lot of skill expression in Mechanist. In fact, I think it's probably one of those situations where there just isn't very much of it. But, and which is not to say that I'm against low intensity builds. I'm obviously not. I've put out a few. I just really think that it's important that those people who are playing the low intensity builds recognize that, they probably shouldn't be performing as well as somebody is actually doing some skill expression. Midnight in group chat saying really sucks for people who only have one tune. I don't think that the 10% decrease is really anything to shake a stick at. I don't know. Let's see. I'm practicing with a Mesmer Alacrity build. Who is in the group that is generating regeneration? That is me. I am putting up a fair bit of regen. And I will explain why and how right now. And then I will take a look at chat. I think it's a good question. I'm actually running some really expensive runes in my Scrapper here. Caddy and I have been doing a lot of science on Scrapper this week in kind of advance of a build video. And you will see I'm running the Superior Runes of Exuberance. These Superior Runes of Exuberance have a gain X versus Y of 3% of Vitality converted to healing power, which actually makes your healing power viable on a power build. So the regen is actually procced here. I believe I'm getting regen. Where am I getting regen? Am I not getting regen off this? Oh, I thought I was proccing the regen. Looks like I'm not proccing the regen. Oh yeah, I am right here. We get regen off supply crate. Excuse me. I'm gonna mute my microphone and cough for a moment just to just kind of save you guys 2 seconds. So coming back into the situation here. So supply crate is proccing a fair bit of regen, to be honest with you. And it's important to realize Mechanist is not being deleted, right? Like a 10% damage nerf is not really that meaningful, particularly for most of us. I mean, if you're doing, 11k DPS and you're going down to 10, it's not that bad. It's still a viable build. Let me catch up with the chat. That's why I can't hate on mech. Too many people come only to have fun rather than perform. The game can't really afford to give up their contribution for financial. Again, a 10% damage decrease does not make does not make Mechanist, does not delete it from the game. It may delete it from the meta, so be it. I think that's really what's important. You're not killing it. You're not taking it out. You're just putting it in line with everything else, because it is absolutely overperforming right now. And those who don't believe so, I will die on this hill. I will die on it. All right, everything should have a low intensity build. Yes, there should be a low intensity build for just about everything, but I'm not sure there are many classes left without one. I don't. It's nice to keep the balance. That way people can all get participation instead of being steamrolled by an OP class or spec. And I think, Sage, you bring up a really important point on this one, and I'm going to touch on it because I had to do some group events this week as part of that new content drop. And I tell you what, the number of mechanists out there that are, doing a little bit higher damage than probably most classes, doing it at range, just completely obliterating core events due to the power creep and such, I think creates a negative gameplay experience for other people on other specs. I can't count the number of events that we got to that were just finishing because people were wiping them quickly, and then you'd see like three mechanists standing there. And I'm not going to hate on the spec, obviously. I enjoy it. I've got 2 videos up for it, but I think it's not healthy currently. Wow, we burned that thing. Burned it. Let's see. Buff Tempest and leave Mechanist. I'm not sure Tempest needs a buff either. I'm going to be honest with you. I think we may be reaching that tipping point with Tempest that we hit on some spots where the devs keep iterating new buffs, patch after patch after patch, and I am the first person to say I am a Tempest enjoyer, and I'm not sure that Tempest is not heading towards the exact same thing. It's been overloaded and overloaded and overloaded to kind of make up for some of the nerfs. The 5 to 10 target, or sorry, the 10 to 5 target change was a pretty serious hit to Tempest, particularly support variants, and they've been kind of making up for it ever since. And I really think that Tempest is kind of in a place right now where it doesn't really need too much more help, and they should probably take a look at how much it's actually doing. I'm not sure. As a PvE generalist, Tempest is fine, but as a support option, I think we are heading towards the point where Tempest support is going to outshine a lot of other options in this game. And I think, again, that's kind of the danger point. I'm not sure I would play anything but Tempest support if I were being serious and try-harding. That's the shit to me. And, a good example of this was how they would buff Necro Axe by 5% every patch for about 3 years, and then suddenly we turned around and Necro Axe was a little overpowered, right? And I think that that's kind of where Tempest is going. It really is getting close to problematic. Let's try and grab this aggro here. Let's see. Gonna try it with food. Gonna try what with food? Complete pair. What do we... I'm sorry. I will catch up with the chat here in a moment, my friends. Bad streamer. But as I said, I have been playing most of my week playing Scrapper and just enjoying it. I think Scrapper is in a really, really nice place right now. May not be as easy to play as Mechanist, but yeah. Bladesong saying most folks are not the nerds we are. The average player is totally unaware. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think we are the average players. I really do. I think we are kind of the average MMO player these days. A little more invested, little more time on our hands, but I look at a lot of the feedback I've got from the channel about what is the average player in this game, and it's not quite what we think. I don't know. Those are my thoughts. Let us catch back up. I guess with NG, it's a bummer that they nerfed Mechanist and also nerf and change the alternative spec and playstyle in Scrapper. I think Scrapper is in a fine place. I think Scrapper is probably my favorite power build to play in PvE these days. I don't think it's going anywhere in World versus World. Let's go and fight this goat. This goat is awful, but I believe in us. So, catching back up. This week, I also heard a bunch of Steam folk complaining that veterans have no business being in starter games. Games breed complainers. I mean, this genre breeds complaining for sure. Do new? I don't completely agree with the new players don't belong in new zones, but at the same time, I'm hoping we have a little bit of an eye opener about the Guild Wars 2 community after the behavior in the last. Whoa, this thing is hard. But the behavior during this Steam launch, I think it's been a bit of an eye opener that there are a lot of people out there that think they're helping but aren't and are doing damage to the public perception of this game just because they want to be shiny in open world. I think there's a lot of that going on, and I've always said that, and I really think that the real thing here is, let the new players play the game. Don't go around thinking you're helping them by tweaking them through every jumping puzzle and stuff. Like, half the benefit of this game versus other MMOs is that open world learning curve, and the moment you say, oh, a new player couldn't do this, well, I mean, we all did it at some point, and there's a real problem that came up with the Steam launch, and I've talked about this on other streams about a community that really values its perception of helping when it isn't really helping. I don't know. It's not been perfect, but I think a lot of the complaints about veterans come down to the veterans' behavior, not ANET's design decisions about allowing people into zones and stuff like that. That's just me. Did they nerf Mechanist for PvE? They are absolutely nerfing Mechanist for PvE in the next balance patch that comes out in a week and a half or so. Wow, this goat is a real pain in the ass. There we go. They are nerfing. They're making a significant nerf to PvE Mechanist. Wow, this thing just rolled me and Caddy. Frickin' goat. Really? I got you. There we go. This frickin' goat just won't die. There we go. So yeah, there is going to be a bit of a hit to Mechanist, and I really just I think it's long overdue, and better nail it now than we end up in like the Firebrand situation where Firebrand was busted for 4 years, which at any rate, new guy incoming, downloading now. Sever, hey, good to see you. If you have questions, please ask. We are definitely here to answer the questions. You've got a lot of pretty supportive, cool people in this chat right now. You really do. Some of my favorite people. Is it because the giant green is so obvious, whereas who's the Spectre isn't clear? I mean, I don't think Spectre is overpowered. I'm not sure. Is Spectre really overpowered? I'm not going to comment too much on Spectre. I have not played it. I've not enjoyed it. I have not enjoyed Spectre. And, man, those of you guys who know me, you know I was stoked for Spectre. And then it came out, and I don't like the way it plays. And that's okay. There were 8 other really good specs in End of Dragons, and some people really like Spectre. I did a Dragon's End a month ago, and out of 50 people, 15 were mechs. Also, the top 10 DPS were mechs. Well, there's a couple of factors there. The Dragon's End meta really does favor range damage. It absolutely favors range damage in that final fight, because there's so much positioning going on in that final fight that being able to keep up an auto attack is really helpful. So, what's good in Dragon's End is Mechanist. What is also good in Dragon's End, I would say, is Virtuoso. Also really good. Probably Longbow Ranger, probably really good in that one. And it's just a function of the actual meta, I think, is part of it. But yeah, it's unhealthy when you see a quarter of the squad playing the same spec. It is. There's no question about it. No question about it. Catching back up. Are they nerfing power or Condi mech, or is it nerfed in general? It's a power mech nerf. It's not a Condi mech nerf. The main nerf is about 10%, to be honest with you, and it comes on aim assisted rocket, which will now no longer work for mechanists in PvE. So that's a really big kind of, it's a 10% hit. It's a 10% hit. And it was 10% passive damage, I think was another part of it. Is it was damage that was proccing completely passively. So is it a really significant issue in PvE? I mean, it's not going to hit the Condi. It's not going to hit my Celestial build. I recognize the power build is doing way too much these days. Like, being able to perma those boons and do that kind of damage that easily, not good. Not good. Sea Dog, I hate Druid Stones. Just saying, I have not done the Druid Stones. Caddy did the Druid Stones. I was too busy making builds to do the Druid Stones. I have not done any of the PvE trinkets other than the amulet, which was not the most fun I've had in the game. Just going to be clear about that. That was I did not enjoy doing the amulet. To be honest with you guys, it was. Yeah, I've said it before. I've said it again. Season 2 is not this game's best look. It really isn't. But yeah, let's go on. Game looks sick. It's a really good game. Sever, I will say this about this game, in that I believe it to be the best MMORPG of all time. From somebody who has played a great number of MMORPGs, and many of those RPGs I have played on a semi-hardcore basis. I just don't think anything compares to Guild Wars 2's combat, its visuals, what it lacks in story, it makes up in presentation of the story. So I think it's in a really good place. It's been consistently probably the strongest MMO I've ever played, particularly over the last 5 years. Absolutely. Mech losing ferocity share too. Yeah, that was real. So why would it just affect power? Because the power build is overperforming. The power build is overperforming largely due to aim assisted rocket is part of it. The power build is doing what? Like, the actual LI build is doing like 33k per second on auto attacks. So it's overperforming. That's why you only hit the power variant. The Condi variant doesn't do that kind of damage as easily. I mean, it's still really viable and really strong, but it's right there. Aim assisted rocket is still working for the engineer. Yes, it still works. The only time aim assisted rocket isn't going to work is when you are playing mechanist. So it's still going to work on other builds. Specifically speaking, you'll still be able to use aim assisted rocket on Hollowsmith, though you wouldn't. I suppose a rifle Hollowsmith would probably be really good these days. You'd probably play rifle hollow and get a lot of good value off that. Yeah. No, from what I understand, Gail, and I could be wrong on this, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding was, as soon as you will have mechanist equipped, aim assisted rocket will not work. That is, yeah, I think that is my understanding of it, but I could be wrong. Which is kind of keeping with the heavy-handed kind of nerfs that, Catalyst went through, etc. Give me a second here. I do need to cough. That said, it could just be the mech, and if it is just the mech, I got to think that's even a less of a DPS loss, to be honest. Yeah, good thing I'm Condi Mech though. Yeah, well, I mean, and again, this nerf is not the end of the world for Power Mech either. You'd probably just switch to Explosive Temper and still do really good damage. Um, yeah, the mech isn't proccing the rocket, but the player does. Okay, well then. Also, the mech won't get ferocity from the player when you take that trait. Yeah. So again, it's not even huge. So I guess I'm wrong in that in the actual mechanic of the nerf. Okay. But yeah, it's still not the hugest deal in the world. I would really just urge you to consider that it's pretty small. Seems to be a single trait, not an entire spec. No longer gains the effective aim assisted rocket. Well then, that doesn't even nerf my power build. I mean, seriously, that doesn't even nerf my power build. That's crazy because then the only thing that nerfs is the people that were playing the trait that whatchamacallit that increased the range off the Mac. And I wasn't even running that trait. I don't know. Then it's not really a significant nerf. I'm taking the hits here. I'm not playing well again. Anyways, yeah, it isn't drastic stuff. It isn't the stuff that I would worry about at all. I think is really kind of the takeaway of that one. And it really, if that's the case, then it's probably going to need more. It's oops, way to target that right off the enemy. Good job. All right. Okay, so we have turned the desert bounties into easy mode, just due to Scrapper. 3 engineers on the team, I think, really is what the message is here. 2 mechs, or a mech and 2 scrappers, and a Mirage. Ultimate comp. Ultimate comp. I says I have Heart of Thorns, Path of Fire, End of Dragons. Is that all I need? Yeah, Sev, that is the big content. There's also some DLCs called Living World. If you're into the story, those are good. I mean, the DLCs, I would go through the main content before probably investing in the DLCs, which I believe may be up to about another $50-$100. They're not expensive. There's just a lot of them, and the thing about those DLCs is they're absolutely huge value. Let's go somewhere else for this, shall we? Let's go do some Sandswept memes. But yeah, you can have all the specs. You just can't go into the living world maps if you don't have those. The living world maps are a mixed bag. Some are really, really good. Some are average. There's a couple that are below average, but they're regardless really good value for the money. As somebody who doesn't get a kickback from ArenaNet, I will say that Living World is absolutely huge value for the money. I think they're like $4 for a Living World episode. I mean, come on, that's big value. That's huge value. So I think they were just shaving a bit off the top. I do think it will affect how many players will play Mechanist now. I mean, if a 10% nerf is affecting how you play the game, then you better have a whole bunch of alts, is all I have to say. You better have a whole lot of alts. If you look at a 10% nerf and you say, this is unplayable now, then there you go. Licentian, thank you very much for the super chat saying, I got your kickback right here, pal. You need to, you need to slot that shit. For real. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that. Ronnie, aren't they free for everyone? Living World Season 1 is free for everyone. Season 2, 3, 4, Icebrood Saga are still paid for. So, there is that. And again, you know, I don't think that $4 is a lot to pay for that much content. I think the Living World has been consistently one of the better values in MMOs. I honestly do think that. Living World Season 2, maybe not so much. There's probably a lot of truth in that. I am not a big fan of Living World Season 2. A lot of my problem with that comes from the story, though. If I was going to make a legendary weapon, I would absolutely want Living World Season 2 because those mastery points are much easier to get in Season 2 than just about everywhere. Those Corteria mastery points are ridiculously easy to get in Season 2. And I think that if I were worried about legendary weapons, I would consider Season 2 a necessity. If I were worried about the story, I would consider Living World Season 2 a necessity. I mean, otherwise you're losing Dry Top and Silver Wastes, and I think you can still go to Silver Wastes regardless. So I'm not sure I would really think too much about that. Wow, with the focus pull, that was really nice. That was really nice. Question on Condi Mech, which is better in your opinion, Mace Pistol or Dual Pistols? Mace Pistol is better damage. Mace Shield is better utility. You get a lot of CC off Mace Shield. The Shield, I like the Shield. I run, but if I were worried about DPS, I would run Mace Pistol, personally. It'll send you to the Silver Waste just to start hot. Yeah, that's right, Brant. You're right about that. Absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, if I was really min maxing Condi Mech, I would probably play Mace Pistol and not Pistol. Plus, the thing about Pistol is it really does kind of put you in this. It really starts to put you into the whole piano play style of the old Condi engineer. That really isn't. It really isn't as fun as maybe it could be. Oh yeah, deleting the optical sensors. That's why we don't spend a lot of time on this map. Actually, is deleting that crap. So yeah, I mean, Mechanist is fine. The nerfs are fine. The changes to World versus World Scrapper are fine. Trust me, guys. This is not changing very much at all. You're still going to see 5 out of 10 people in your strike group on mech, and we'll still not be able to die them. And, you know, life goes on. Life goes on. Pistol offhand is pretty much just there for the stats and break bar hate. Well, you know, you get a little bit of Condi damage off Pistol offhand on Engineer. That you just don't get on other specs, other weapons. Like, it's really hard to find good Condi weapons. For Engineer in general, right? Like, if you're running Condi weapons, you have to be running the pistols pretty much. But the mace is a good alternative. I think that the confusion that comes off the mace is really good. And if you've got all the money in the world to burn, running those perplexity runes on Condi Mech is a lot of fun. And I really like Celestial Mechanist. Running it for Condi, even with those perplexity runes, it's really sweet. Plus you get the perma alacrity. It really is nice. It really is nice. PvP is more pistol is more Li-ish. Maybe, yeah. You're probably right about that. But I still don't think it's, you know, if you want to play at LI, you gotta play mech, power mech. I mean, it's not going anywhere. It really isn't. It's still more than viable. More than viable. Do you think that mech support is viable? Absolutely. Mech support is huge. I think Mechanist support is probably in PvE is better than Scrapper support in PvE. I think Mechanist support is maybe top 4 or 5 support builds in PvE right now, in my books. Anyways, I mean, obviously I'm not a meta player, but I'm really hard pressed to think of a lot of better specs for PvE when it comes to support than support ham. Heal alacrity mech, they call it ham. What's better these days? I mean, I'll say Tempest is better, but I don't play the meta. What else is better than heal alacrity mech these days? Somebody can shout out some stuff. Yeah, ham isn't going anywhere. Ham is not going anywhere. If I had to play, Caddy saying I play ham in raids. Yeah, Caddy plays ham in raids. I've not played a lot of ham, to be honest with you guys. And I just like saying ham over and over because I like ham. But yeah, it really isn't going anywhere. Let me give you an idea here. So let me just swap because I can, and I will put on Celestial Gear with Renegade Runes, and we will swap to, what is this? Is this a good Mechanist build? What do we got here? This is not a good Mechanist build. Is this a good Mechanist build? This is a better Mechanist build. Okay. So this would be how I would play Condi Mechanist. I'm playing it in Celestial Gear because I'm an open world noob. But Celly Gear makes this really cozy. Then I'm playing Mace Shield. And let's just see how it hangs with the rest of the people here. Let us just see how it hangs. So this is not really support. But what I have done is I've mitigated a little bit of the damage for some boon support. Specifically Crisis Zone. Crisis Zone is really, really nice. It's your permanent alacrity. So this does permanent alacrity, maintains a decent heal. It's not a full support, but it's one of those things you kind of can play in open world and, you know, just not worry about your health. So let's, oops. Let's come over this way and let's see how it plays. What shall we play? Let's get the Old Stone Hoof or the Oaken Scorn. The Stone Hoof. All right. So you'll get an idea of how this plays here. This is, again, not a pure support build, but more of a hybrid damage supporty kind of thing that I kind of famous for. So. But the damage is pretty strong, as you will see. Whoops. If I was going to play it full for damage, solo for open world, I would totally invest in the Perplexity runes, by the way. I'm going the wrong way. There we go. All right. I will zip down, and let's see how we do against another goat. But it's beefy. It's... You'll see the numbers start to fly on this. It's pretty good. And again, this is the kind of thing where we're getting alacrity off the auto attacks, and we're getting alacrity off Crisis Zone, so really it's kind of a low... I'm not going to call it low intensity. This is not low intensity, but it's just not the most complicated thing you'd ever play. I like it. You know, the damage is good. We're not spiking huge numbers because of all the mechanics on this, but you know, as long as you're managing to hit your F2 and getting your alacrity out on people, it's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. It's got a lot of nice CC. And of course, like I say, it's engineer, right? Anything you're missing, there's a utility for it somewhere. This thing is a pain in the butt. There we go. You could probably set it to auto. Yeah, I suppose that's absolutely true, Brent. You could definitely set that F2 to auto. But the thing is that the heal on this is really strong because any kind of healing these days that you throw anything behind is absolutely overpowered in terms of the healing that it provides you. So if you're able to run something like Celly Gear, which this build absolutely can. Whoa. No licensing. There we go. So if you can run Selly gear on a build, like, it's just so very, very powerful. No problem. So there we go. Top damage, pretty close. Yeah, right there. So, I mean, it's right there, but do I enjoy it as much? No, I do not. But if I wanted to play a powerful build in open world, I would probably play this. If I wanted to play a fun build in open world, I would play Hollowsmith. It's kind of it, you know. Being able to perma alacrity on your people is a really big thing. It really is. That's pretty decent mine. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. So here we go. What time is it? You know what we're going to do at this point, my friends, is we are going to take 5. I'm going to move to the clip break that I lovingly assembled yesterday. And we will be back in 5.
When the engine is operating, air is drawn into the engine by means of the compressor, in the same way that the turning blades of a fan pull in smoke. Now the air is forced into the burning chamber, where it is mixed with fuel sprayed from the fuel injectors. When the fuel burns, it produces hot expanding gases. Let's think first about the usual ways of moving things. Let's see that action again, and this time think of the force. For every action force pushing against an object, there's an equal and opposite reaction force pushing back. This is a law of physics discovered by Sir Isaac Newton. Once again, an action force this way will produce a reaction force in the opposite direction. Now let's do it again and think about the reaction forces.
Sure, I could have stayed in the past. Could have even been king. But in my own way, I am king. Hail to the king, baby.
Fumes of gasoline, benzene, and naphtha, when they mix with air, are a powerful explosive. And when they reach an open flame, every minute of the day and night, all year long, there's a fire. Every hour of the day and night, all year long, one person dies and 4 are maimed by fire. When will this appalling rate of death and destruction come to an end? That is the challenge. How will you meet this challenge?
All right, let's play some Mesmer. Okay, good stuff. Let's make the video. All right, we have returned. I promised Caddy I would talk about Tempest a little bit because she's worried they're going to make her play it. And I think we'll do some DRMs. I will hop on a support Tempest and we will do some DRMs. Did I turn my... Yeah, I did turn my microphone back on. Go me! I'm getting better. Yay. You skipped your bio for that. You can take one now. There we go. So let us go here. We got room for one more person out there if you would like to do some DRMs with us. But Caddy and I were talking this morning about Tempest. And I said, why would anybody ever want to play Tempest and not play Warhorn is really it. Caddy, let me tell you one of the big reasons you're going to play Warhorn in World versus World. And that is on water. You're going to play it on water for a few reasons. Water Globe is a big one. Look, it moves. Yay. It's a nice little heal that moves. It's also a combo field, a water combo field that we can blast. And then we've got the cleansing wave here. So regenerates and heals allies and knocks enemy back. This obviously is going to rip some stab from groups, which is really, really nice. If we go over here onto the 4, we have protection, which we can really keep up well on this. And when we look at really going for a kind of a hybrid damage approach, I would still run Warhorn. I would run Warhorn because on a hybrid damage build, you're going to be running air, so you're going to be flipping back between air and fire to do your damage. Of course, you've got the pull here, which is more ripping of stab. And then a big piece of your damage on Tempest is actually going to come from Lightning Orb, right? Lightning Orb is really, really powerful when you're playing it for damage. I'm just not sure you would play Dagger, even if you were doing some kind of hybrid thing. And if you're doing some kind of hybrid thing, then you're running Trooper runes anyways. You have to run Trooper runes on Tempest in World versus World, and we'll take a look at why. These are monk runes, so let's go over to my World versus World setup, which is Trooper runes, and we're running Trooper runes because of the 6, which is remove a condition from each affected ally after using a shout skill. So you have to run Trooper runes on any kind of Tempest in World versus World. There's just no better alternative to it. And really, if you're running the Trooper runes, then it's kind of pulling you out of any kind of damage roll. You can't give these up for the benefit that they are providing, particularly in World versus World, because what does this mean? This means that every time I hit one of these shouts, and I have 4 of them, I'm cleansing 5 condies with these Trooper runes. So this is a big piece of your cleanse in World versus World. And if you're playing cleanse in World versus World, you have to run this. This is half your cleanse. The other half is coming from a trait in fire. And if we take a look at this, let's take a look at the build here. So this is, let's take a look. Where's the trait in fire? I'm looking for it. And what the trait is it removes a condition every time you... Oh, that's not fire at all, is it? It's arcane. Okay, so let's look at fire. So fire says every time you put an aura on people, you cleanse conditions. So what you need to be running at the very least is water. Okay, so you need to be running water in World versus World for powerful aura. Powerful aura says any aura you grant yourself is granted to nearby allies. This synergizes with smothering auras, which applying auras to allies removes conditions. So what you need to be doing is proccing as many auras as possible onto your friends. Okay. So let's put Tempest down here and kind of put it all together and the way that this would work in World versus World. So we want to be running powerful auras, okay? We want to be running smothering auras, and then we probably want to be running unstable conduit, which is going to grant an aura every time that we go into one of our overloads. So it's really tempting to try and build this for, you know, some kind of damage roll, but if you really want to be getting all the value off proccing, off cleansing, we want to be running dagger main hand, okay, and we want to be running these two traits, smothering auras and powerful auras. The moment we start running water, we start losing a fair bit of the damage that we can do. We can still get piercing shards on here, but piercing shards is a much better trait for PvE because the vulnerability is a bigger value. Vulnerability in World versus World, particularly when zerging, probably not your biggest win. So when we're running these two to say, well, I want to play some kind of hybrid damage support thing, you know, if you were really wanting to do that, you'd want something other than water in here. And then you lose powerful auras. So vulnerability turns into what from purity of purpose? Vulnerability turns into might or prot? Let's see. Wiki, purity of purpose. We're getting really big on the eggheading here for those of you guys. So let's take a look here. Where is the boon conversion? When you would cleanse a condition from an ally, convert it to a boon. So Vuln, where is Vuln? So Vuln turns into protection. Vuln turns into protection. And I mean, protection is okay, but you know what I'm saying here. I hope you get what I'm kind of putting down. So really, when you're playing this, what you want to do is you want to play it for might generation, okay? And we play it for might generation by using Pyromancer's Puissance and then being in fire and using Heat Sink. So the idea here is giving stacks of might to yourself and then spreading the boons that you have to your allies. So what this does is copies boons. It'll copy the might that you have out onto other people, which means that you are giving, obviously, might in addition to giving all the healing that you're getting. So when you're running this, you're going to run this in, obviously, Minstrel's gear because you're playing World versus World. You're going to run those Trooper runes, which are really going to increase your cleanse. Without the Trooper runes, you're not going to be half the cleanse bot you were. And again, the only real cleansing utility you're getting here is by proccing auras on top of that with your weapon skills. So how do you proc the auras? There's a few different ways to do that. One is by using unstable conduit like this and then proccing that aura out that way. So I don't think that I'm not sure I would really believe in the hybrid damage support option for Tempest in World versus World for that reason, because you are locked into the substandard runes for the cleanse for DPS, but these are good support runes, right? Trooper runes are good support runes. So let's go and we will do some monk runes here, and let me just finish a build up here with this. I mean, none of these are really great for this, but we'll grab... Oh, we're not running that, so there we go. That is kind of how I would run it. I may even run the Blinding Ashes here in World versus World, because blindness is really just awful. Then gain stability and swiftness when starting an overload. This is important in World versus World. Now, where am I going here on this one? I'm probably going to go with the Alacrity. Either that or the healing allies. If I'm worried about green numbers, then I'll go with Elemental Bastion, but really Alacrity would be really nice to put out, and since I'm going to be doing a lot of overloads, that's how I'm going to do it. So, with that said, again, we'll run all shouts here, particularly in World versus World, but in PvE, we will run these, I think. Then we'll run this utility for rezzing people, so damage and chill foes while healing and reviving allies in an area. So we'll do this for kind of picking people up, and then we'll run rebound, which will help us actually maintain more auras. So there we go. Midnight says, I think I'll make a pot roast today, maybe even some blueberry or cornbread. See, now that sounds really freaking awesome. So let us go back to the chat here for a few moments. A few tooltips like Lightning Orb underrepresent the actual output a skills give you. That's a really good point. Really good point. Windshark, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the stream. Vulnerability, yeah, we already covered that. And here we go. All right. So let's go and do a dragon response mission. Let's start with the Lake Doric. And we will be private, because that's how we rock. And there we go. So, you know, when we're talking about World versus World, I'm not sure, you know, and the eggheads who play a lot more World versus World can correct me if I'm wrong. But I've played a fair bit of Support Tempest in World versus World, and I can't see a reason to shoehorn it into some kind of hybrid build that it really doesn't kind of belong as. You know, I think Tempest is great when you set it for DPS in the first place. I think Tempest is great when you set it for support in the first place, but I just don't think its options are as strong as something like, say, Mechanist when it comes to a hybrid role. So, there we go. Will Hammer Warrior be back on the menu? I did not look at it enough, to be honest with you, Windshark. I've been playing a fair bit of Warrior lately, not going to front. I've been playing a whole lot of Spellbreaker recently, and really enjoying the shit out of some Spellbreaker. The damage improvements really put some shine onto the spec, and I've been enjoying it, but at the same time, I don't know if it was enough to make Hammer good. I think Hammer Dragon Hunter may be in an okay place these days. I think the changes in the last patch to Hammer on Guardian were interesting, but I didn't see that much in there that I thought would really make Hammer Warrior more viable, but I could be wrong. The Fog of Tooltips is another backwards recommendation to run Arc DPS, and there is that, and I would agree. I would agree. We'll be revisiting the Tempest thing after October 5th. Absolutely. It's a quickness Spellbreaker build that could do 27k DPS. Yeah, I mean, Spellbreaker is in a pretty good place with the banners. I was playing it without banners just because for open world, I mean, unless you're big game hunting, those banners may not be your biggest win, to be honest with you. The more static nature of it, but if you're playing an instance PvE, absolutely, yeah. Warriors in an okay place with the banners, particularly with the quickness support. But when playing it a little more solo and kind of group oriented, I will go take this dude out here. I'm not sure, a little less group oriented, unless you're just fighting champions, etc. I'm not sure it's in the best place. It's just not. It suffers from the same problem that like Ventari Rev kind of runs into, in that you are really kind of forced to be in that one little spot at all times, and it's not as conducive to the way that the combat in this game is really is really played. I guess the best way to put it. I mean, if you're sitting there stacking on a boss, it's great. It's absolutely great. It's fan-freaking-tastic. So yeah, I mean, I was playing a lot of Spellbreaker this week, Spellbreaker and Scrapper, and really enjoying both. Really enjoying both. There we go. Divinity's Reach is in trouble, and we're gonna save the living hell out of it. Gail bringing up Bubba Hotep earlier. I will absolutely just chime in on the fact that Tubi TV is my new obsession because they have Bubba Hotep for free, and Dark Side of the Ring and Akira, and you don't even have to sign up to watch these things. It's pretty cool. Watched a lot of TV this week, so yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Watched a lot of Tubi TV, and I watched House of the Dragon, which I have actually been really enjoying. If any of you guys are keeping up on that Game of Thrones stuff, that House of the Dragon is absolutely great stuff. Cannot complain. Cannot complain. Better than the original in some ways, I will say that. I don't know. Am I running the Alacrity trait there? Yes, I am. Go Alacrity Power. So an important thing to know, Caddy, going back to what we were talking about the World versus World Tempest, is about the value of Shocking Aura. I think Shocking Aura, probably one of the biggest pieces of value you can give your team. So if you're playing Dagger, you know, going in on that engage and sopping up the Alpha Strike and stunning your opponents at the same time is pretty freaking useful. So leave it at that. Rings of Power, I actually watched the first couple of episodes of that as well, Ronnie, and was pleasantly surprised at how high quality it was. I was expecting garbage, to be honest with you, and it's turned out to be not so bad. Yeah, I'm currently leveling a new ranger. The achievements really speed up the process. I was actually wondering just how much they speed up the process, to be honest with you, Windshark. One thing I thought about was seeing how far I could get leveling a tune in a single setting these days. Like sitting down and seeing how far I could go to 80, like in one sitting, with those new achievements. Because, yeah, I got to think that's pretty powerful leveling stuff right there. Let's get some alacrity on y'all. Have that alacrity. Yay. There we go. Do enjoy this one. I'll probably replace that that Signet after this fight, because I don't think that Signet's really big value in PvE if we're not dying constantly. Then again, we may start dying constantly. Who knows? But the condition cleanse, you can see, is also good in PvE on these missions because of all the chill that these guys spam. So let's do that. Get some might up on y'all. And some alacrity. And some big old green numbers. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I like it. Yes, sir, I like it. So I need to try Power Soul Beast. Power Soul Beast is pretty good. Yeah, I got no real problems with it. It's just not to me. To me, Soul Beast is just not the most compelling way to play the game. I like Condi Soul Beast a lot. I'm not sure Power Soul Beast is just my jam, to be honest with you. I'm wondering if they'll start reverting those trade-offs for PvE as well. So I wonder if we'll get the pet swap back in PvE. That would signify a really large shift, I think, in the damage, the philosophy of this game. So there we go. We have completed this part. So I don't know. I don't think I've, You know where I enjoyed Power Soul Beast? I enjoyed Power Soul Beast in Commander's gear, running like a boon spam beast, like a boom beast. I enjoyed that. They nerfed the living shit out of it after a while, though, so I'm not sure that's as viable as it once was. But I'm just not sure. Pet swap on Soul Beast when merged? No, not currently in PvE. They're changing that in World vs. World and PvP. But they are not changing that for PvE, as far as I know yet. And what that only means at that point is you actually get those pet swap abilities, or like the beast abilities, I guess is what they're actually called. They did. You can swap pets during a merge. When did that happen? In PvE? Oh, I mean, I hadn't heard about that. That's actually surprising to me. And again, I'm just not sure that that's one of those builds that really needs help. I think Power Soul Beast has been consistently of value in T4 Fractals. A lot of people play it in open worlds. I wouldn't, but yeah, Power Soul Beast. I don't know. It's a pet spec. We know how I feel about the pet spec. Maybe right though, mind I wasn't paying that much attention. I could be wrong too. I was wrong earlier about the Mechanist nerf, so I'm wrong about many things. I'm not wrong about Tubi TV and the ability to watch Akira and Bubba Hotep for free, though. We'll just leave it at that. All right. Oh, those auras are so good. You'd be hard-pressed to find a better support spec than Tempest. Back. Delivering the truth to my son. His head is shaped like an egg, and he looks like Adam Sandler. Here's the thing. I boycott Adam Sandler movies. I can't stand that guy. Oh, he's just like the worst possible humor, that guy. I don't know. Him and Will Ferrell is the other one who I just won't watch. I just won't watch them. I just don't find them funny. I'm not a big comedy guy, though. I like to laugh and everything. I just find most comedies are either lowbrow humor or telling you when to laugh with a laugh track. Yeah. But the egg shape is undeniable. Oh dear. This is why I didn't have children. If they do implement that trait in PvE, it will compete with the trait that gives 10% damage, so it'll give an interesting choice. I mean, yeah, okay, that's a good trade-off, and you're probably right about that, Windshark. Yeah, you're probably right about that. I guess I don't understand why there's this obsession, not just pretty much with the community about ranged power builds. Like, why is everybody into ranged power pet builds? And what really is the compelling reason to play a ranged power pet build? Like, Scorcher. Caddy with the big answer. Yeah, there it is. Scorcher on Desert Bounties right there. That's why you play ranged power pet builds. All right. I'm going to concentrate for a moment and try and keep my team well supported because we lost midnight. There we go. Doesn't anybody specialize anymore? Let's do it. Watch out, guys. This ain't no joke. Stack on me if you can. Well, all right. Stack on me if you want to live. All right. Let's do it. What? Why are my people dying? Why? What's going on? Why is everybody getting smoked? All right. You guys can, in a DRM, you guys can actually waypoint. So you're alright on that. So there we go. Dying because I am not playing my support role very well. I should have used my signet there. There we go. Yeah, just make sure you're dodging those circles. Those circles are absolutely real on the DRMs. And stacking, also a big value. Big, big value. Let's get those heals right up. There we go. Dodge. And we'll make it. Dodge. Stack on me for green numbers. There we go. There we have it. Dodge. We'll hit it. We'll get it. We'll get gold. We are golden gods. My alacrity, maybe not where it should be. Dodge. And we'll get it. Let's get some prot on you guys. There we go. Spells take concentration. Let's break his. Let's break that bar. Or not. There we go. Break it. Break it. We can do it. Just a little more. And there's the big heals. Lay down the hits. And we got this. Look at Caddy with the 17k. There she is. Like a pro. I will catch the chat in a moment. I do want to try and keep my pals alive. I got you. I got you. And dodge. There we go. And there we go. We'll get it. Dodge. There's a little bit of rebounding for you guys. And make sure you're not standing in that. There we go. Like a pro, like a caddy, like a boss. No. And let's break that bar. Let's get that up on you guys. We'll get it. More pros need to be like Caddy. It's so true. So true. Dodge. Make sure you're not standing in that. There we go. We'll hit it. Dodge. There we go. Of course, there's probably like this little stream delay, and every time I say dodge, it's probably like 2 seconds too late. Yeah. Make sure you're not standing in that. Hope your Tempest actually gives you some alacrity, and there we go. Let's break that bar. We will get it. There we go. Hit the thing. Hit the dude. There we go. Lightning orb. Dodge. There we go. Not a problem. Get some more heals. There we go. Dodge. No, Caddy. There we go. Finish him. Good job. Good job, my loot minions. Good job. So let's do the Let's do the Fields of Ruin one here, which is actually really hard. Delay equals why my guildies can't use chat to tell me to dodge and fail Guardian. I'm already dead. Yes, you are my loot minions. All right, let's do the one in Fields of Ruin, which is the boss on this one is pretty intense on full CM. So Primordius' champions, Fields of Ruin, private. There we have it. The worst one, yeah, Fields of Ruin is no joke. The on full CM, those are some pretty harsh. Hit cancel. I don't think Midnight's seeing the thing again. Let's try this again, and let's see it. There we go. All right, cool. Yeah, this one can go sideways. This one can absolutely go sideways if you are not paying attention to the burn fields, etc. Absolutely. So let's pull all the forces back.
Did you manage to call for reinforcements? I did. I received
And let's get going.
actions in the area. Yes, but will they arrive in time is the question. Gotta trust them. But right now,
Did they ever fix the one the Shiver Peaks the time ran out on?
it's their city.
Are you talking about the one with Ryland? Is that the one?
How is this still acceptable?
I don't remember that one ever being bugged, personally. In fact, I don't think I ever ran into too many bugs on these DRMs. It's probably why I like them. Oh, I'm so salty about those about that bug in that new mission. I was just so salty about that. I was like, "Hey, Caddy, want to go play SWOTOR or Final Fantasy 14?" I was super salty about that. I was not a happy camper. Yeah, I mean that's probably the hardest. Well, the second hardest DRM, Ronnie. I'm gonna say the hardest DRM is probably the one in Thunderhead with the with all that knockback. Like that Thunderhead one is cancerous. It's just nasty. I hate that one. That one's, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Ronnie. Yeah, it's not fun. It's not even a fun fight. It's probably my least done DRM just because I enjoy it the least, to be honest with you. Do a few hits here. Where are we at for the rest of these? We got the civilians. We got to rally some people and kill some more destroyer. Yeah. It really is that situation. Most of the rest of the DRMs I really enjoy. I really like the one in Bloodtide. I like the boss fight in Bloodtide. I think it's got some cool mechanics. I like this one specifically. I like the Lake Doric one. We do the Lake Doric one a lot, Caddy and I, just as a testing phase. We play that one a lot. And that one's good. But the Thunderhead one, yeah, the Thunderhead one and the Caledon Forest one. We avoid the Caledon Forest one because Caddy can't stand the bird girl talking. That one Tengu NPC who's got probably one of the more annoying voice actresses in the game. Just awful. Absolutely awful DRM that way. But yeah, here we go. What do we need? 3 more destroyers, and we still got to rally some dudes. More annoying voices in life. Yeah, Caddy hates that voice actress. There's some hate there. There's one in Biora Marches. Wow, which one is in Biora Marches that's awful? I'm just trying to remember. Yeah, I talk a lot about the good voice acting in the game. There is some bad stuff. Some of those Tengu voices were just absolutely awful. She talks through her nose. I have to go back to Biora and find it. What do we need? 3 more people to rally? Okay. And then the key through the next part, if we're gonna actually crush this CM, guys, is actually just kind of staying together and handling the trash mobs, because the trash mobs scatter a fair bit. And if you want time at the boss, you got to make sure that we are handling those trash effectively. Where are we at here? We still need to rally one more dude. Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's go it this way. So just try and stay together through this part. Handle these trash as effectively as possible. Where was my stab? And I will keep the might and alacrity up as best I can. And we'll see what happens. This one's easy to fail. Okay. Kill these dudes. Alright. Follow me, my loot goblins. There we go. That's how we need to do it. Onwards. The other thing to remember on these CM ones is that, like, these things burn when they drop. Let's push forward and grab the aggro into this little bit here. We'll get it. We'll get it. We are pros. We have Caddy with us. We know we have nothing to worry about. Oh, except I'm about to die. There we go. There we go. Let's get the more alacrity. Always stay behind the boss. Yeah, that helps. The elites, though, need to be burned. Baby, burned. Onwards. Clean some condies. Get some auras up. And how about a little alacrity? Yeah, there we go. Push right into here. Good job. Feel the burn is nice. Are a fan. There we go. Let's push into this group here. Let this little dude follow us in. There we go. I love it. Oh, except I'm letting Licentian die. Blame the healer. You know that a few minutes pass before your voice catches up to the action? I did not know that. I guess we're having issues today. I blame YouTube. I blame YouTube. So be it. Oh well. We will just get through here and beat it. It's just kind of how I feel today. This is not easy, though, for those of you guys who've done it. I mean, I don't think it's easy. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there who say, oh, this is simple, but I am, yeah, I'm taking the hits. There we go. Oh. I might not make it. Ooh. They hitting hard, though. How much left do we... Yeah, we should be able to clear this pretty quickly. Got anything back there? No. Alright. Push into these guys. I'll try and grab these guys up here. There we go. Hopefully this will get us clear through the trash mob phase of our enjoyment today. Get on to the boss. For those of you guys who haven't done this, on CM, the boss has legit one-hit mechanics. Like, just smoke you. If you're in the wrong spot, you will die. So do keep that in mind as we are playing through here on this last little bit, that you cannot camp red circles even with my heals on this one. This should be pretty close to finishing it. Should have about 5 minutes to kill the boss. That'll be alright. Should be good, but we'll never know. get some stab. And there we go. All right. To the middle of the town, my minions. Let's do this. All right. So, yeah, avoid red circles and try and stack. Best you can. I will try and keep the heals and the alacrity up, and we'll see what happens. There it is. That's what I'm talking about. I think this is probably the second hardest of the DRMs. I mean, it is to get gold on anyways. I think the hardest one is probably the Ryland one. But these are always a good choice. And, you know, to me, these were like a nice little, you know, methadone for a person who is missing their fractals. I thought these were a nice little change. Stand in the green, and we will be okay. All right, let's go. There we go. Break that bar if you want to live. Don't stand in that red. You will not survive it. Let's see if I can get Licentiate up. No. That thing hits pretty hard. Watch your feet. There we go. We'll hit it. If I have gone quiet, I'm actually concentrating on the fight. Go me. Yay. All right. Trying to keep that alacrity up a little bit anyway. Around this side. That thing already? No, he's... There we go. Into the green. If you guys can res so I can keep that alacrity proc. There we go. Scepter maybe not the best weapon for this. I'm not sure. Always kind of struggled on this one. If you're not using staff on Healing Tempest, you know, your main hand... excuse me. Your main hand weapon is of negligible value sometimes. Ooh, I ate that hard. There we go. How are we doing here? 2.5 minutes. We can do it, I believe. Don't stand in that. Oh, I totally stood in that. Let's get out of there. Good luck healing me. Yeah. Oh, there is no hope for me. Caddy with the clutch res. I want to be Caddy when I grow up. Holy smokes. There we go. Yeah, you can't really mess around with these red circles in this one. It's probably one of the more punishing missions in terms of the red circles outside of like raids or whatever. Yeah, I think we all have a little bit of hero worship or heroine worship, so to speak, without, you know, getting all drug infused. There we go. Don't want to be in that. Get the alacrity. Get rebound up on y'all, and then some more alacrity. Stand in that. There we go. I believe in us. I think we can do it. That timer, however, ticking down to create the ultimate tension. Will the derpers beat the full CM? Hard to say. Oh, nice with the break bar right there. All right. Victory not so much assured. No, you don't have to grow up, but if you're going to grow up, you might as well be Caddy when you do it. Just saying. All right. What do we have here? We have, 1 minute. All right, my loot goblins, I believe. There we go. And we are low manning it. Let's keep that in mind. Don't stand in that. Oh, it's going to be tight, my friends. It's going to be tight. Don't res, she's full dead. That's full dead. Yeah. Oh, I blew that. I blew that hard. Well, I'm going to blame me for the loss of the full challenge mode there. My bad. What do we have? 10 seconds, 9.
Looks like they're retreating for now.
Oh my God, we did it. So there we have it. We made it gold, 3 of 3. And we have Licentian and Caddy to really thank you for that one. That was incredible, guys. Loot minions. Absolutely. There we go. Those of you guys who've never done DRMs, they are moderately good paying content. And we'll go over this really quickly before we end the stream here, because there's some good loot in there. As you guys are doing these on the full CMs, they absolutely Ebb got this from a black. What the heck is this? Somebody in one of my guild chats just got something, and I'm trying to preview it. Hey, that's pretty nice. Okay, there we go. Anyways, so when we pull this up and we take a look here, we get these defense seals for doing this. We use these defense seals to buy these boxes. So we did 2 of these. We could afford a couple of boxes. What we will do is we'll probably buy the Omicron ones are actually the best paying ones. They high roll the best, as well as the Crystal Bloom ones. I'll grab those and then just open these for some spare loot. That's not bad. It's not bad. That's not great. Didn't do fantastic, but you get some good drops. Some good stuff there. Oh, another Proof of Legend. I think I can actually buy the last costume piece with this. I'll have to look at that later. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. They're good practice for strikes. Yeah, I think so. I think they're good. I just think they're good content. I mean, when it comes to just wanting to slap some stuff, I think you're hard pressed to do better than DRMs. DRMs are really nice, and they have that adjustable difficulty, which I love very much. If you can keep your wits about you while others are losing theirs and blaming you, the world will be yours and everything in it. What's more, you'll be a caddy, my player. And you see, that is the quote as I remember it as well from Rudyard Kipling. That is exactly the quote as I remember it. All right, guys, that is going to constitute my fun here this morning. It has been absolutely a great time with y'all. And I am going to go out. My uncle, it's his birthday, and I am going to make the ultimate baked potato for him. What that looks like, I'm not sure. I will put a picture up on the Discord, I'm sure, later. Yes, happy birthday to Uncle Norm. Happy birthday to Uncle Norm. Had a lot of fun with you guys. Thank you all very much. Yes, there will be bacon. There will totally be bacon. And we will catch you guys later on in the week. There will be something, I promise. All right. Thank you very much for joining. Min-max your real life and have fun in game. And go touch some grass, guys. Go touch grass.